Good evening, everyone. My name is Amit, and I'm talking to you from our Ananda Center in Delhi. And as we begin this evening satsang together, it's okay. Okay, let's start this evening with a prayer. Please play silently or repeat after me. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, great Gurus, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints and sages of all religions, we humbly bow to you all. Divine Masters, be with us this evening. Help us understand your message. Help us understand your wisdom and guide us as we strive to bring your teaching, strive to live your teaching in our daily life. We are your children. Guide us, bless us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let's just take a moment of silence, just for a minute or so, as we prepare ourselves, bringing our energies together, dropping any other thoughts of the day, just for a minute. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Good evening once again. So, the topic today, the reading from the book Living Wisely, Living Well. I'm reading it from an app that we have. This is for July 3rd. Swamiji writes, be loyal to your principles, but never demand that anyone share them. Respect others' right to speak truth in their own way, seek truth in their own way, and at their own pace. Be loyal to your principles, but never demand that anyone share them. Respect others' right to seek truth in their own way and at their own pace. A short reading, but as Swamiji's sayings, all these 365 sayings, each of them basically just tackles the same truth in a different light. And then we will see in the next half an hour or so what inspirations and what suggestions that Swamiji has for us, we can draw from it together. I will start with the second part, which Swamiji says. He says that never demand that people share your principles and letting people have their own way, own pace as they approach the truth, however inviting or however beautiful it may appear to you. Now, I would like to share my own experience at this time. When I was new to the path, I was very much appealed to, probably as many of you also, to the teachings that we share here by teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda and that of like the way Swamiji writes. And then Every time people will say some things to me, there was a big yes, which was saying from within me. And I say, of course, that makes sense. The first time when I heard about yamas and niyamas, however daunting they are to practice, they just made perfect sense. Nobody had to really convince me that practicing truthfulness is not a good idea. It's obviously just made sense, of course. Every time they said, "Oh, this is what Master said," I said, "Yeah, yeah, that makes sense." So I just was very happy to find some things which resonates with me so deeply. And eventually, when I became more serious, and then I wanted to share this also, and as a facilitator, I started sharing the same things with people who would come in here. And of course, to not my any great surprise, whenever I would talk about these teachings, even there was a big yes from them also. And I said, yeah, it just makes sense. And it just makes sense, it seems universally. Because isn't that what we say? These teachings are universal. But then the first time when I left the campus of Ananda and I went for sharing the same teaching to a group which wasn't necessarily directly looking for this kind of expression. But I wasn't quite aware of it then. So I presented the same things in the same way. Normally in our classes, we talk about yamas and niyamas, which is Patanjali's uh, couple of stages of Ashtanga Yoga in like 10 minutes in our entire series. And then everybody just nods and then they're happy with what they received. But in this particular class, actually, I took it like half an hour for just two of them, thinking that we will draw much more inspiration from those. And while I was going into them and then telling them, yes, these are the things that Patanjali said, this is how Paramahansa Yogananda ji interprets it, and so we should be practicing it. And as I was seeing, their faces were just becoming like, huh, what are you saying? And I couldn't fathom, "Ki, what is it? Like, am I saying something wrong? Why is this not working?" And then finally, the same talk I ended saying, like, you see, like in everything, God is the doer. And when I first myself heard that sentence, it was like such a great discovery. And when I said the same statements, the response to them like, yeah, right. And I said, what went wrong? And what happened first time is like there was a great rejection from myself. Like, yeah, they're not ready for this teaching. Isn't that what we say sometimes? Or even when Swami says this, you have to let people have their own pace and own time and own way to look at the truth and seek the truth. But it is not, he doesn't say that by saying that you can demean the other person by saying, yeah, you're not ready for what I'm saying. You see, there's an arrogance there. But I saw there was arrogance within myself. And but I was also very eager to understand why didn't it succeed? Why didn't, when I speak to some people, it really works and then resonate? And in the same sincerity, if I present to some other group, why didn't work? And then came the other portion, which I, okay, maybe I am not ready. Maybe I am not good. Equally useless thought, but I also went through them for quite some time. Just again, just rejecting the possibility, okay, I'm not going to share it with everyone till I myself become more clear. Now, having clarity within yourself is a good idea. But see, those two didn't help at all. Till the point, finally, this reading sort of find a connection within myself, that you have to accept that possibility that however you're vibrating for a particular truth, it is your only your truth, isn't it? And then maybe there are a few others that also vibrate with the same vibrancy uh, like you, but others may not. And then there is a metaphor that also helped me, and I would like to share that. When we talk about truth, there is a book Swamiji has written called Rays of the One Light, where he talks about truth is one and eternal. And in that eternal truth, which is absolute, but when we approach to that absolute truth, that journey is very individual. When we talk about I am a disciple of Yogananda, somebody says I am disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahansa, it is not that one is better than other, it's just that they have chosen a different path. Eventually it is going to reach to that absolute truth. But you see, they are on a particular journey which is very individual. The metaphor that I'm talking about is of they say about when there are few of, when you're looking at the elephant, Let's say you're very close to the elephant, and what you can see, if you're looking it from the behind, let's say all you can see is the tail. Hmm. A person who is looking at the same elephant from the front, what can he see? All he can see is a trunk of the elephant. Someone who is looking all the way from the bottom, all he can see is like the leg of the elephant. And then someone is basically, let's say, sitting somewhere close to his ear, all he can see is the ear. Now, if you ask them to describe, okay, how does elephant look? And then the person, I am looking at the tail. I said, oh, it looks like a hair or a small, lots of hairs coming out of it. To which the other person will refuse, saying, no, 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 no. He's like a big, long pipe, because he's looking at the trunk. He says, what are you saying? He's like a big pillar. I can see right in front here. And then the one who is looking at the ear, he would say, no, no, no. It's like a big fan in the old days they used to use. Is one of them right or wrong? No. All of them are right in its own place, but it is not absolute yet. Now we can say, as I was also saying, how do we look at it? The wisdom is understanding that we're not entirely wise yet. What is the difference between we and the masters? We are looking at the truth, maybe from just as this close distance. We certainly have probably touched some of the glimpses of it, but he has seen the elephant in its entirety. So that's why he can associate with the person who describes the truth as a long pipe. He can also associate with the person who is describing the truth as a big pillar. He understands because they have achieved that entire wisdom and they know the elephant in its entirety. But till we reach that point, what is wisdom for us at this moment is saying that what we're looking at could be the partial truth. When the other people are looking at it from some other point, there could be a possibility that there isn't truth in itself. Now, it may resonate with you or may not resonate with you. It's not a problem. What is it that basically you have to just let them be looking at what they want to look at? And that is what Swami says. Give them that space. And they deserve that space, however enthusiastic we are. And we have to live our space we have to live our truth to the best of our capacities as well. And that brings me to the second part of the talk today. What is the first line he starts with? He says, be loyal to your principles. When we heard this word loyalty, it's not a very popular word these days, the world that we live in. Because whenever there's I demand loyalty, it has become more of a demand, like someone else wants it from you. But that is not the loyalty that Swami talks about here. Now think about what loyalty means to you. Is it just a social norm that we want to be loyal to some truth or our partner or to an organization or to our guru? Is it like because organization demands it, or is it more than that? And I think when Swamiji said this, so certainly is not talking about any of those kind of loyalties. Swami Kriyananda, it's not a taboo. When we talk about being loyal to something, it's not a taboo. It's like, oh, you go there, bad idea. It's not. You're not. You're just going here and there. Swami Kriyananda was very, very unorthodox in his approach to spirituality. He has done many different expressions to find that possibility of self-expression also. He used to wear an astrological bangle and a gemstone. He did go to many saints who basically give like Brigu and then Agastya readings, which is basically more of an astrological reading. He also would consult many of the psychic, and then he also suggested us, or not suggested, but he did feel some of them were more beneficial than the others. All these things he did. So having said that, I don't encourage that we all should be doing it, but he didn't really stop just because, oh, I shouldn't be going anywhere else because I have to be loyal to my path. But he understood the loyalty more within than from outside in. There is one particular story I would like to share from his life. He shared this, is where he went to Rishikesh, or I'm probably missing the place correctly, but that's where he met one of the disciples of Lahari Mahashaya, and he was a very exalted saint. And he said Lahari Mahashaya gave many more Kriya initiations than what Yogananda ji gave. Now, Lahari Mahashaya is from one of the gurus of our lineage. So, Swamiji at that moment thought that maybe it's a good idea that I can take another initiation. It may help in his own sadhana. But he realized after taking that initiation, he didn't feel the same connection with Master. For a few days he waited, but that connection never he was able to establish. So he realized it is not for him, and he repudiated that initiation. Not because it is bad, not because he didn't want it, just because he felt it was not his. Swami Kriyananda ji discouraged all his students not to engage in any fight which talks about, oh, this path versus that path. What he said is basically it is not important. Many times when people would try to say, even to him, in a more of an arrogant sense, oh, but you see, there is this path is so beautiful, and then yeah, this particular guru knew so much. Swamiji would just simply answer, maybe that is true. Maybe all these other paths that you are talking about, they're probably much more exalted. But he said, but Yogananda's way is mine. And that's what his simple answer. And again, he really meant it sincerely. That's what I feel. And that's what I think he also says for us when we talk about being loyal. When we go home to our own home, it may not be the best possible home in this world. If you Google top 10 beautiful houses or beautiful homes in the world, you will see them and they will be beautiful. I assure you that. Even to just get a glimpse of them from inside, it will be very, very nice. But it is not your home. It is not my home. When we go to our home, which we call our home, is something which is where our heart lies. When we talk about loyalty, it's something inner commitment. When we talk about vows, it is not for society, it is not for some organization. If you find something which basically touches you so deeply, then when we say, I want to be loyal to you, is when we say, because I love you. And in that loyalty holds the capacity and the power to deepen that relation. Why do you give your loyalty to Yogananda or any path or any particular principle that you hold dear to? Because when we are loyal, we commit to our energy. When we say we're going to grow all together, isn't it what we say, even in human relationship? Because in that stands the capacity to ripen. The wisdom that we seek when we talk about spiritual path won't come just if we just start going here and there. Be loyal to the principles. And then the last part today I want to share about, which is more in terms of principles itself. This loyalty or anything that we talk about, now going, the desire to go deeper comes very easily when we really have found those principles which resonate with us very deeply. Yogananda ji says it takes very, very, very good karma to even want to find God or to want to even learn this teaching, if I want to paraphrase that so for the convenience of this evening. What does he mean by that? I just thought, okay, yeah, whatever. No, but the more I think of it, you see, like how many you look at your own life. When I reflect my own life, it wasn't a bad life earlier before any of this so-called spiritual quest began. It was very nice in all possible worldly ways. Now, from where we are discussing this, if I look at it, it was missing the whole point. And it is not, again, I'm being judgmental towards the world, saying that, oh, we are doing something better than the world, but this is a great opportunity. Every person who has some principles, and then this doesn't have to be spiritual principles. One, what are those? That is basically call of a heart. And what brings that call of a heart? What is it? Where does the call originate? And that, Yogananda, you say, that's because you have a very, very, very good karma. Meaning, we have tried. We have tried hard enough to come to this point so that that call is alive within ourselves. And when in this lifetime some call like that comes alive, we call it to honor that and supported by the principles. Now, our choice then, when such a call appears, is what is, are we going to resonate with that? Are we going to do something with that? You see, because it's like a bank balance, isn't it? Like we had a bank balance, which was what we did in the previous incarnations and whatnot. And because of that, we have been given this opportunity. Now, what is it that we are going to do? Loyalty, as they say, is not just a good word, hmm, but it is something we have to live. If you love someone, if you love something, if you are found something which has that kind of a meaning for yourself, then it's our opportunity, not only opportunity, it's our responsibility to live it. And remembering all the time what we are living is only for ourselves to that greatest sense. Because nothing else, nobody else might be called for you to live it because it's your personal call. There's a beautiful song that Swamiji has written. There is a Bengali version of that also written by Rabindranath Tagore called Ekla Chalore. And Swamiji writes, his song is Go On Alone, and where he says, "Now why court approval once the road is known? Let come who will, but if they all turn home, the goal still awaits you. Go on alone." And this is not an arrogance that is walking, but this is the confidence. This is a respect to that principle, to that call of the heart, to which we pledge our loyalty. And in that, while we're walking, if we find someone, we're looking at that tail of the elephant with the same curiosity as you were looking at, then beautiful, because that certainly helps. So let them come with you, walk with you. That is the strength of the community. But at times, if you find yourself alone, at times you find people looking at someone else, it's fine. You have to let them also walk their journey in the same spirit. And you have to walk your own journey. We have to walk our own journey in all our enthusiasm, all our strength. Joy to you.